Hello and welcome to the Villa View. It's time for the Luke Live Lounge with myself, Dan Bardell, joined by Chris Dolan, as I will be most weeks, and special guest Nathan Dorr, who we are absolutely setting up to be mugged here. He's had a bit of a few issues. He's locked himself out of his studio. I'll let him explain what he's done. Nathan, good to have you on, but probably not under these circumstances.
Thank you for having me. I just got to the studio and then I've gone in the studio, turned everything on, put the lights on, put the internet on. I've ran back out to my car to go and get my laptop, and I've locked myself out. So my phone's in there, my wallet, everything's in there. So luckily I have my laptop, and I thought, okay, if I can just about get the Wi-Fi from the studio, I might be able to connect, ring you, and let you know the situation. But luckily the connection's that good that I can actually stand outside, and we're going to give it a go for a bit and see how we get on. But I'm outside, freezing in a car park. Back in my mind, I'm thinking probably more important things are to try and get my wallet and my phone. But I'm going to through and through, so I'm here, I'm making the effort. But thank you boys for getting me on. It's been a long time.
I know. Obviously, we'll try and get you on again in proper circumstances, but we won't keep you too long because, one, I don't want you to get mugged. Two, you're probably quite cold. And three, you probably need to sort your life out. But just starting with Sunday, what a night. Just tell us your feelings about that game against Liverpool on Sunday, mate.
It was just it. You can't put it into words, and you think after a few days you might be able to, but you still can't. And I think one of the funniest things was before the game, me and my family were saying, we've had a good start to the season. Let's not ruin it now by getting battered going into the international break. We'll probably take a 1-0, 2-0 loss, and that's a respectful result. 70 minutes later, we're singing "We Want 8" in the pub, and I was thinking, these things just don't happen, and it's just it's mental to be able to experience that. I mean, I don't think it will happen like that ever again in our lifetimes, probably. And it was just an amazing time to be a Villa fan, and I think we're one of the very few clubs that really deserve that. And we've been through so much crap, and just to have a moment like that really felt like a kind of, I know we say it, we're back, rah, 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 but it really did feel like a moment where it was like, look, we've been through all that stuff. We really are back now. And, long may that continue. And fingers crossed it wasn't just a one-off.
Yeah, because like you say, we've had moments where we've thought we're back, like we won the playoff final back in the Premier League. We were probably all saying we're back this time next year, but this time last year. But the reality is, it was a very, very difficult season. But just the start so far, Nathan, 3 wins out of 3. It does feel like we are back. It feels proper now, and the summer business has been unbelievable, hasn't it?
It feels different. I think you can tell from afar the club's being ran well now, from top to bottom. The backroom staff, all the hard workers that don't get the praise, really are testament, I think, to the success that we're having right now. And there's just a good aura around the place. It feels good, and it's a really exciting time to be a villain. And I'm just hoping and praying that people's expectations don't go through the roof now. We have to be realistic, and maintain Premier League status. I think it's got to be the number one kind of agenda this season. But obviously anything more than that, in my opinion, is a bonus, because 3 games ago, if you said you can guarantee Premier League safety, do you want to take that? You'd say yeah, if it was by a point again. So let's not get too carried away. But let's go for let's aim for top half. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, I think top half's obviously it's achievable, isn't it, Chris? I mean, you're one of them ones last season. You got it bang on, actually saying it was going to be a difficult season. And Tom and myself, we just thought, what's he on about? We'll be okay. But you were actually realistic and proved right. What do you think now for this season?
I think looking back on last season, I think the job Suso maybe did has maybe gone a little bit maybe under the radar, and I think maybe he deserves more credit than we gave him during last season. It was always going to be tough. I mean, 13, 14 players came in. All across the pitch. We all know it takes a while to gel, and I think obviously post lockdown something clicked, something happens. The players understood the league a bit better, and since that Palace game really last season, we've never looked back, and it's weird now going into every game thinking that we can get something. I deep down didn't think we'd win on Sunday. I thought we'd give them a game. Dan, you said it would be 1-1. Even having that expectation this early in the season, I think's really positive. And there's just a really, really amazing feel-good factor around the club. And I said before, and Nathan just said it there, like we're being run like a proper club, you know, a real proper club from top to bottom. You know, all across the club, you know, from the women's setup to the youth setup, you know, Bodymore Heath's, you know, getting even better. You know, they're expanding there as well. It's been improved, and I think everyone deserves a massive amount of credit. And I'm just so happy that we stuck with Dean Smith. And you know, it was tough. It was tough at the end of last season. It wasn't looking good. You know, that Leicester game was pretty horrific. And wouldn't it be amazing to go back to Leicester in a few weeks' time and put those demons to bed? You know, it was a pretty grim night, that 4-0 battering.
Yeah.
So I think for me, this Leicester game will be a marker to where we are, to where we've come from. Liverpool is always going to be a one-off game. You know, if you get something against them, you know, although albeit it was 7-2, but I think coming up against Leicester will really show where we've come on, sort of from a quality point of view, and also sort of a mentality point of view as well.
Yeah, I mean, and Nathan, we got very used to losing last season. Losing becomes a habit. I said it in the show we did on Sunday. It now looks like winning's becoming a habit for Villa, and a massive part of that is obviously Jack Grealish staying here. I don't know what your thoughts were in the summer, but to me, I'd resigned myself that he was gone. I'd almost tried to stop myself from loving him because I didn't want to be so hurt when he left. But you're a massive fan of him. Obviously, you're very fond of him as well. How big is it that he's here and he's absolutely running the Premier League at the moment?
I think it's kind of like a "I told you so" moment when it comes to Villa fans. Have always had his back from day one, and you know, like, you know, people always say he's not good enough. He wouldn't walk into this team. What you on about? Rah rah rah. And we've all genuinely believed from day one that he would. And I think the satisfying thing now is I've got Liverpool fans, Man United fans, Chelsea fans messaging me going, "He's quite good, isn't he?" And I'm going like, we've known this from day one, and I think it's just satisfying for us to see people actually respect that now and take him as probably arguably the best midfielder in the league right now. And you know, for him to sign that contract, that goes back to what we were saying about how well the club's being run now, because I feel like he's been rolled out a plan that's really convinced him. Otherwise he wouldn't be in claret and blue now, I'm sure of that. So I think that's promising in its own. And I think he's just fell in love with Ross Barkley. After that one game, he's realised what can happen when he's got a player of that quality around him. And I'm just so excited to see that pair link up. And I think he's now so excited for the season to carry on because he's finally got his wish as such to bring in some quality players that he can play with and can actually benefit.
Oh, I don't know whether we've lost Nathan there. We had a good run with him, to be fair, considering he stood in a car park. You lost him as well, Dolan.
Yeah, it was going too well, there, wasn't it? As you said.
It was a lovely run. It was great to hear from Nathan, and fair play to him being outside. He's had I mean, to be fair, it's been difficult times for the world and difficult times for us. But to be fair, during lockdown, his career has absolutely catapulted. He's been absolutely flying, been knocking around the top of the charts. Massive Villa fan as well, so it's really pleasing to see him doing well. And obviously, when he's not locked out of his office, we'll try and get him on the Luke Live Lounge again, because it's always great to hear from him because he knows his stuff. So someone else who knows his stuff, Dolan, me and you now. Let's talk about that Liverpool game, because I felt like when we did the show on Sunday, I felt like I was on a different planet. Like I still can't really live with what's happened, but coming straight on and doing a show about Villa beating Liverpool 7-2, it was all just so surreal. So now we've had a few days to calm down. How are you feeling now? Has it sunk in?
Yeah, I mean, I came straight from the pub pretty much on Sunday, and I actually watched a rerun of the full 90 minutes on today, actually, because I kind of wanted to hear what Carragher was saying, and I wanted to hear what the Sky commentators were saying, you know. And I love Carragher, you know. I think he's very honest. And is that Nathan back? Sorry, is he coming back in?
He's not popping up on the screen.
Oh, is he back?
I can see him. Wouldn't be the Villa view if we didn't have some form of problems. There he is. He's back. There, Nathan.
Wi-Fi starting to give up. Where did I get?
We won't keep you. Like, we're actually just talking about you and how lockdown's been really difficult for people, and it's probably been difficult for you as well. But how your career's absolutely catapulted, it seems, over lockdown. You've had some real success. So just explain to us a little bit about that and how that's been.
I mean, what's happening in the music and creative world right now is awful, really. Like the way we're being treated by the government is just disgusting. There's no two ways about it. I'm one of the very few fortunate people that have actually excelled during lockdown. And it's took me on to amazing things and things that I could only ever have dreamt of. So as thankful as I am for that, it's not right what's going on, and there's a lot of kind of strong feelings towards what's going on right now, and it needs to change. But the support I've been getting through lockdown has just been amazing, and thank God that it kind of happened at this moment, because I'd be quite worried right now if the singles hadn't taken off and I was sitting here not knowing when the next paycheck was coming in. So I mean, as bad as it's been, on a personal note, it's been great, but it has to get better now when it comes to my industry, and something needs to be done, and I hope it is done pretty soon.
I mean, obviously, it's a sign of your success being able to come on the Villa View. That's an absolutely massive thing for you. I'm sure we won't get you any longer, mate. But there's been a lot of love for you from the Villa fans in the comments. Have you got a little message for the Villa fans that support you just before you drop off and try and get yourself warm?
Yeah, just big up all the Villa fans. I feel like we're just one massive community, and I do see all the support all the time. I might not be able to reply to everything, but I do see it, and it's just, obviously it's amazing. I love all my fans in general, but when they're a Villa fan as well, it just makes them that bit more special, and I really do appreciate everything. And there's a new single dropping very soon, which you'll find out what it is in a few weeks.
Excellent stuff. I'm sure everyone will be looking out for that. Thanks for coming on in the turmoil that you're in, and give me a text later so that I know you're safe.
Nice one. Take care.
See you later.
Last time I saw Nathan Dolan, do you remember we were at Reading away? And I might have had a few too many shanties that day as well. I didn't actually know who he was until you said, "Gee, that was Nathan Dolan, stamp massaging." And I was like, didn't realise, no. But now
you're very cool. You're very cool about it, to be fair. But you're a cool guy.
Well, it's all a front. It's all a front. Yeah. I'm actually trembling. I'm actually trembling inside. But as you were saying, back to the game. I mean, we actually just tore them to shreds. It was simple as that. We tore them to shreds. They did nothing in the second half, and we didn't really seem to get out of second gear in the second half. It was just like Jack didn't even break a sweat for that seventh. There was it was so easy. It was so comfortable, and it was just a joy to watch from start to finish. Absolute joy, and it still hasn't sunk in. I don't think it'll sink in. It'll not sink in for a while yet, Dan. I don't think. I think it'll take until the next game to put that one sort of out of the system, so to speak, because it was dreamland stuff. And like yourself, I heard a podcast that you did on another platform, and you were saying you've watched the highlights over and over and over again, and I think we all have.
Yeah. I've watched everything. I watched the little Twitter montage that Villa put on. I've listened to things on the radio. Listened to podcasts that I wouldn't normally listen to. It's just that feel good, and like Nathan said, to have that feel good after a decade of feeling pretty miserable. Can't even say it. After feeling pretty miserable about your club for a decade, it's a big thing to feel good again and have a smile on your face. I spoke to my dad on the phone, obviously, and he never lets out too much emotion, but I could just tell by speaking to him on the phone, and he's been going to Villa a long time, but I could just sense how much that game meant to him. And the biggest travesty is obviously that none of us were there to see it, but even for us to all just collectively watch it on TV and enjoy it, it's just such a good time to be a Villa fan.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think you said on Sunday, if it meant not getting back into the stadium with results like that, you'd take it, I mean, the thing is, I never got to Villa Park as often as you did, and as often as many of the viewers did, because of my work, and I work in retail, and my hours are pretty unforgiving. I don't really have that many weekends off, so although I really miss going to Villa Park, and especially going to away games, it's not that much difference in terms of I'm still watching the Villa from on the TV in the pub in my front room. But I understand people like yourself who've been a season ticket holder for the guts of 23, 24 years. I mean, it must be really difficult to all of a sudden not be going to the place that you go every other Saturday with your dad, with your best friends, with your with your loved ones, and because it's a real day out, and I know for sure that everyone's just itching to get back in, and if Villa keep on putting on performances like that, can you imagine the atmosphere in that stadium when it gets rocking again? It'll be unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't work out whether it softens the blow or makes it worse that Villa are good, because I remember when we first started this new world and we were in lockdown and the games came back and no one could be there. Obviously, we didn't get off to a great start, and I was thinking, you know what, I'm quite glad not to be there. It's a lot easier watching us be rubbish on telly than it is making the effort to go to the games. But now when you're winning, you really miss it, and you want to be there. But I'm just pleased to see us doing well, because, as I say, it's been a decade of rubbish, and we all deserve this. Whatever anyone says about us, Villa fans are a loyal bunch, and you think about how many people turn into every away game, it sells out. Most home games are pretty much always full, even through the load of rubbish. The Villa fans have been there, and we deserve to have a little bit of success. And I know, we haven't won anything with 3 games into the season, but just to be able to smile about your football club again consistently, that's a really big thing. And one of the main reasons we're smiling is Jack Grealish. And I don't know whether you saw, he was actually playing with a little hamstring knock on Sunday as well, which is unbelievable. So he's taking Liverpool apart, not even at 100%. Just how much does that say about him and his character?
Yeah, I noticed that at the Fulham game he had a bit of strapping on his leg, and then whenever Barkley signed, there's an image of sort of saying hello, and he's limping slightly, and you're sort of thinking, oh no. But he didn't look to me in any discomfort. He didn't look to me that he was in any great pain. In fact, the Liverpool game is probably the one game where he didn't really get fouled that much. He only had maybe 1 or 2. Sort of heavyish tackles on him. I don't recall him getting taken down that much. So he didn't show any signs of that at all. Interesting. I hope now England, as much as I want him to play and score for England, obviously worried that he comes back in tip-top condition. But I mean, it was, we said that. Well, you said that the Brighton game at home last year was probably one of the best individual performances that you'd ever seen from an Aston Villa player, and I think on Sunday he eclipsed that. He took that performance to another level, and the beauty of that was that his 10 other teammates did the same thing, and it was as a collective. And I know this is what Dean Smith always talks about. A collective, a team spirit. Having good people at the football club, and that's what we have. And I think we have a group of players that we all actually like as blokes. They all seem like really good blokes, and I think that's so important. And that's what we have at the minute. And I think as we said before, the window, bar possibly a striker, has been 10 out of 10. Yeah,
we'll come on to the transfer window. Obviously, we're going to try and review that a little bit, but just staying on the Jack theme, and I think resilience is something that gets overlooked with him quite a lot. You think from day one, since he's been around the Villa first team, he's got kicked up and down for 90 minutes or however long he's been on the pitch, and playing with the knock on Sunday and producing one of the best individual displays any of us have ever seen. I remember the Birmingham City home game where he scored and we won 4-2. He was actually throwing up overnight. He was really ill overnight and in the morning, and he dusted himself off and played a great game there as well. Just because he's flash and the way he looks, I feel like people overlook how tough he is and how strong he is. I mean, his physique as well is absolutely incredible. He's just got the lot, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's flash. I mean flash in what way? Because of his slick back hair. I just think he's stylish. Yeah. I think he's stylish more than flash. I think he's probably the most stylish footballer in terms of the way he just glides. He glides around that pitch like he's on ice skates. Like it's phenomenal. And I just think he has a certain swagger. I've said it before. He just reminds me of George Best. He just has that Georgie Best thing about him, and obviously being a Belfast boy like George Best obviously is, for me, George Best is probably one of my footballing heroes, and to see a player like Grealish have that similar swagger to George Best, it's an absolute joy to watch. So I just think he's hated because he's, as you say, probably at the minute the best attacking midfielder in the Premier League. And as I said on Sunday, I wouldn't swap him for any player in world football at the minute. I would not swap Jack Grealish with any player in world football, and I think that speaks volume. And that's not a Villa fan being over the top and you know, having the claret and blue tinted glasses on. I think now it's fact that he tore apart. He absolutely tore apart that Liverpool backline, and you know, that was what people don't realize, that was a full strength back four that they had out there. They had, you know, essentially a 350, 400 million pound back four on display, and in this modern day market, and we absolutely tore them to shreds. And as Jamie Carragher said, and as everyone's been saying, it could have been 10 or 11. And that was their full strength back four.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff I saw done to Van Dijk, I simply haven't seen that happen to him since he made that big £75 million move. You think about the way Jack just so nonchalantly knocked the ball through his legs for that Barkley chance. I thought Watkins gave him probably one of the hardest games I think he's had since he's been at Liverpool. So, like you say, that's a full strength Liverpool back line, and people talking about that high line like they've just come out and done something new against Villa and it's gone wrong. No. They've been doing that high line for a long time, and they only lost 2 games, I think, in the end last season. So teams would have tried to suss that out and punish that back line the entirety of last season, probably the season before as well, because they had an incredible season then. But it's us. It's Villa that's found the recipe and that's absolutely destroyed them and left them in pieces. And like you say, it could have been double figures. And so I've seen it pop up on the old chat and the comments. People saying is Dean Smith getting the credit he deserves. So we'll come back to that. But are Villa getting the credit they deserve for that performance?
I mean, if you look back at the Liverpool media, Robertson gave a really, really honest interview. Van Dijk gave a really honest interview, and I think Klopp also.
Yeah, they've been top class, to be fair.
They've been really, really gracious in defeat. And it's funny, Jurgen Klopp's first trip to Villa Park was a 6-0 battering, and which is probably one of the lowest ebbs we've been at. And who would have thought, you know, 5 years on, that after the 6-0 defeat and the Lescott tweet and the shambles that we were in, that would be beating them 7-2. I mean, it's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable. I mean, you talk about a transformation, you talk about a turnaround, and I've said this before, you know, this time 2 years ago we were 14th, 15th in the championship. Me and you went to Millwall that day. After
saw that pop up on the memory.
You know, it was bleak. Alan Hutton was having a dig at fans, and they were having a dig back, and it was just a horrendous day. And then, you know, we get to the playoff. Sorry, we go on a 10-game winning run, and even before that season, you know, we almost go bankrupt. We looked terrible under Bruce when the owners came in. You know, we got drubbed 4-1 at Sheffield United. And it was pretty bleak. And then Dean Smith comes in, and all of a sudden, you know, we find some form, and the transformation, going on that 10-game winning run, getting to the playoff final, beating Derby, you know, having our squad dismantled, having to then reassemble a brand new squad, you know, which is tough enough in itself. Then having to stay up after where we were at, you know, before lockdown, even where we were at after that Liverpool game, or was it the United game at home? I mean, we were done. We were dead and buried, and then we pull off one of the greatest escapes, probably us and Fulham, and maybe West Brom. You know, up there with one of the greatest escapes that the Premier League's ever seen. And then we go into the transfer market and we buy very, very smartly, and we start the season like an absolute house on fire, and we win our first 3 games. Yet Leeds are getting more praise for getting beat 4-3, and they're getting more praise for drawing against Man 31-all. It just doesn't. I just don't understand. And you also brought up the point about Gabby being in the media and maybe people like Mika Richards. I thought Souness's comments were a joke. You know, I thought they were an absolute joke. And listen, I respect Souness as a player and as a pundit on his day, he's very, very good. But it was just a disgrace, you know. But that's the only thing that's annoyed me. It's actually annoyed me, the lack of respect that we get shown. And I said before, if you ask any proper football fan, you know, any true football fan, name a proper football club in this country, you know, they'd say Aston Villa. You know, Gary Neville loves going to Villa Park. Carragher loves Villa Park. You know, it's such an iconic stadium, and we're such an iconic team. And the lack of respect we get is just it's uncalled for. And But listen, the only people that can turn that around are us as a football club. We carry on doing that, and then no one's got there's no choice but to take us seriously.
Yeah, I can tell you why Gary never likes Villa Park so much is because he used to win there every time he played.
True,
But I do get the point that you're making. Just onto the respect for Dean Smith then, because like you say, Bielsa goes to Anfield and loses 4-3, and it's like he's the second coming of Jesus Christ. But we beat Liverpool 7-2, and it's all about how bad Liverpool are and what Liverpool have done wrong, not about what Villa have done well. Now, a lot of stuff's been levelled at Dean Smith over the last 12 months, to be fair to him. People were saying at the start of the transfer window, oh, he's too nice. We can't attract the players. People were saying he was too nice when we were fighting down the bottom. But sometimes, being a classy guy, you'll know this, he can get you somewhere. And, he's a nice guy. Of course he is, but I'm sure he's got a little bit of a streak inside him as well, where he'll have a go at people and dig people out. But just how pleased are you that him and his coaching staff, because they have all got a bit of class about them, that they're getting Villa back where we want to be.
They're all a class act, and like I said, we were lucky enough to have a beer with Dean and the coaching staff in his office after the Brighton game, and absolute gent, and he's the kind of guy that you want at the helm of your football club. There was something like what struck me the last day of the season when he had his the Holders of the Sky badge on, a member of his dad, and I was like, wow, like it doesn't, you don't want anybody else at your club than him. I just trust him. I just trust everything he does, and I was obviously critical towards the end of last season because I think everybody was, because
I think it's fair to criticise.
Results weren't going our way, and it was horrendous. It was pretty horrific, and we looked dead and buried. But he's clearly got grit and determination, because you don't be a nice guy or a pushover and then all of a sudden turn the team around from where it was to where it is now. I mean that takes real nous and real knowledge. And the reason why Bielsa is so lauded by the press is because he obviously gets a recommendation from Pochettino, and he gets a recommendation from Pep, and the media just jump all over that. Whereas Dean Smith's come through. He's come through the grassroots, and he's earned the right to manage his boyhood club. And I also think, like, looking back at the signings of the summer, and I was so delighted when he came in, was Craig Shakespeare.
Someone just asked about that.
Yeah, people are going to reference the style of play we had on Sunday was very Leicester-esque. Of the year they won the title season, kind of Albrighton or Mahrez over the top of Vardy, and boom, it's in the back of the net. They won the Premier League with the least possession across the season. So, he's clearly a very, very, very good coach, and he brings the experience that we needed. Again, we went into last season with a rookie backroom staff as well. Obviously, John Terry had played in the Premier League, but he had never coached at that level, and neither had any other of the backroom teams. So I think last season the way we stayed up was probably the best thing that could have happened to us, because you learn more from losing. You learn more from your mistakes than you do when you win every week. And I tell you what, Liverpool will have learned a hell of a lot on Sunday after that defeat. They'll have learned more about them that they never thought was there. And I have to say, they've been, as a football club, they've been very humble, and I think the media should take note and listen to a few of those interviews by the likes of Van Dijk and Andy Robertson.
Yeah, they were top class, to be fair to Liverpool, the coaching staff and the players, the way they came out. Just want to say about Shakespeare as well. Some people might look as bringing in some experience as a sign of weakness, but it's a sign of strength, admitting there's deficiencies there and rectifying it, and bringing someone in with that experience. And he's coached at the highest level. He's coached when Leicester have won the league. He's been the England coach, albeit very briefly, because Sam Allardyce only lasted 5 minutes. But you know what I mean? The guy's coached, and he's managed. He's managing the Champions League. I know. No, he didn't manage. Did he manage in the Champions League? He might have had one game.
I think he might have
in the
got
Champions
a few
League.
Games. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's been at a high level.
Yeah, and also as well, him and Dean Smith are good friends off the pitch as well. They've known each other for years. I think were they at Walsall together, maybe? maybe I believe.
I know they know each other.
They played. I think they played together. Maybe did Dean Smith clean his boots or something? There was obviously a connection back in the day, and they've obviously remained good friends. So for me, it's the perfect match. It's the perfect match, and you know, he says he's an Aston Villa fan as well. I know he's obviously been at Leicester, and he's got an allegiance with other clubs now, but essentially grew up as an Aston Villa fan. So again, it ticks the box, and you could certainly see. There was a ruthlessness to us. We actually enjoyed, you know, putting 7 goals past Liverpool. You know, we actually enjoyed it. Maybe over the years we've been too nice, but we just did it with a real. It was just a real cutting edge and a real style and a real swagger. And I have to say, as you said earlier on, Barkley was just magnificent, and he was the game changer for me. He was another level, and it's frightening what him and Jack can do together over the next 7-8 months. I could see both of them, and Konza as well. I think Carragher mentioned in commentary what a big fan he is of Ezri Konza.
Yeah, he
called it a few weeks ago. He is honestly, I'm getting worried. I'm getting worried now a little bit about Konza, because if he carries on like that, there'll be big clubs in for him. He can go to the very, but he can go to the very, very, very top. He can go to the very top, and what a player! I mean, what a player he's been. And I think moving from right back into centre back last year at the end of the season was, for me, the defining moment. That's where it all clicked for me.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the way things have been going, you never know. We might end up tying him up to a big time deal like we have done with Mings and Grealish. That's how we're operating at the moment. Yeah, that's how we're operating at the moment, and it's a joy to see. We're going to move on to the transfer window now, and in particular, the additions that we've made. You can also make some additions to your wardrobe. You'll see our code at the top of the screen. Get 25% off almost everything at luke1977.com. All you got to do is use the code TVV25. Now, usually we're offering a 20% code on the Villa View, but we've been given a special 25% code for 24 hours only. So after the show, obviously concentrate on the show. You don't want to be jumping on the Luke website just yet. So after the show, go on the Luke website and you can get yourself some goodies, get yourself 25% off. They've got some lovely stuff on there. So yeah, go and check them out. It's always good. Still great for us to have an association with Luke Roper. Still my favourite kit. So yeah, get yourself on the website after the show and take a look. Dolan, transfer window. Now, I've got a title here and a question here to ask you. Did Aston Villa win the transfer window?
I mean, on form, yes. On spending ability and power, no, because Chelsea obviously blew everyone out of the water in terms of big name signings and spend. But if you look at how everything's gelled and how everything's worked and how everything's slotted in, absolutely. And I think last season was very much a sliding doors moment for us. And you know, I always said consolidate our status last season and kick on from there. And I just think everything's just been, you know, it took a while to get them in, but look at how the other clubs have operated. You know, we were all over it. And I think you know, from Shakespeare to Grealish to Mings, you know, Watkins looks incredible. Martinez for me is the signing of the entire window, in my opinion. He's just incredible. And I mean, a bit like you, I still think we could do with another striker. I still think we could do with one more striker in the building.
Still could happen though. Obviously, we could still get people from the AFL, so it's not over.
Not over yet. You know, maybe Josh King could come in, but I still think we're just one striker down. I mean, I know Traore can play up top as a number 9, but for me, I want another striker in there on the bench that can come on with half an hour to go and you know, bang a few in, because obviously as much as we love Keenan Davis and his work rate's phenomenal, he doesn't score you goals. And we need somebody to, even for Watkins, even to challenge Watkins. You need somebody to challenge Watkins, and I don't, you know, you almost don't want to see Watkins become too comfortable. You know, you need a little bit of competition for places, especially up top, But apart from that, no, it's been phenomenal. Everton have also been amazing. They've had a brilliant window. I know that last season they bought some top players. I thought they'd have a great season last season, but this time they've really bought some quality, and a bit like us, they've strengthened in the key areas. James Rodriguez, Decore, Allen. I still think there's big question marks about the goalkeeper.
Big top. They did sign a keeper.
Yeah, on loan. But again, is he? I don't know. Is he going to be pushing Pickford? I'm not sure.
I'd say so.
Yeah,
also.
And then I think
he's
even
going to get it.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin for me is like a new signing for them. I don't know what's happened to him. I think he was saying he's been showing clips of Inzaghi back in the day, and it's all about one touch finishes. But he looks incredible. So I think Everton will be up there. I can see Everton doing Leicester and maybe getting top 4 like last season. I think they'll be a real force. And so I think ourselves, Everton and Chelsea have been the 3 clubs that have really made the mark. But for me, I'm over the moon. Absolutely delighted.
I'm going to question you here because I made my own top 3 of who I thought would win the window, and I had us top, and then in no particular order. Spurs and Everton are the only 2 that I can put near us. Now, the reason I'm not putting Chelsea in is because they've spent a fortune, which is fine. That's their right to do. They've bought in some very good players, but I actually don't think it's going to improve their position. I don't think their signing suddenly takes them into being title contenders. I think Spurs' business maybe moves them up 2 or 3 places from last season. I think Everton's catapults them to being top 4 challengers. And I think ours moves us from 17 to being potentially in the top half. So that's how I'm judging it. I don't think that Chelsea's business is going to suddenly make them be the new Liverpool. They finished 4th, I think it was, in the end last season. I could see them quite easily finishing 4th again or 3rd. Do you get what I'm saying? So I actually think we've won the window because I think the level of improvement will be bigger for us than it will be for anyone else.
I've got to say, Dan, that's probably the most sensible thing you've ever said. I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, you're absolutely spot on. It's a great way to look at it in terms of progression, in terms of what the players what impact they'll have on your club. It's a great shout. I did say, you're welcome. It isn't often we agree, but I did say top 12 would be a realistic addition for aim for us this season. And listen, if somebody said, "Do you want to take 12th now?" I'd still take it because I think with us it'll be a gradual thing. I think we'll gradually get better and better and better and better. We're not going to do what Man City did or Chelsea did and bring in 60, 70, 80 million pound players on extravagant wages. That's not how Purslow wants to operate. So I think it'll be a progression. It'll be a progression thing. And I've just seen a question there from Monday 11 kits. Where do we think we'll finish in the next 2 to 4 years? If we carry on like this, we'll be back to being a top 6 club, easily being back to being a top 6 club. And it's all about just trying to walk before you can run, and doing it in stages. And I think that's the way we're going to do it. Listen. Sunday was a miracle. It was a freak. This season looks like it's going to be a pretty mad. It looks like it's going to be over the shop. So you never know. So this season could be the season where we all of a sudden go from 17th to 6th. But I think in a realistic world, I think we'll in the next 2 to 4 years, I think we'll be a comfortable top 6 club, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's a big statement, and we'd certainly all take it because when we were kids, when you chose to support Villa, we were a top 6 club. We were consistently finishing around those positions. I think we finished 4th under Brian Little in his first full season. So we were a big team, and we were up there in the Premier League. It's just gone down a bit, went back up briefly, and then absolutely capitulated. So hopefully now we're on the right trajectory. Again, we're gonna find ourselves up the table again. I think with these owners, to be honest, I think the sky's the absolute limit. I think we're so lucky to have those 2 owning our football club. I think it's just an incredible turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah, they're amazing, and they're kind of like the silent assassins. You don't hear an awful lot from them, but they've been unbelievable, and there's something about them. They don't seem like a flash in the pan. They don't seem, because yes, they've spent money, but they haven't been crass. They haven't just thrown money at it and went right. We want top 4. They've been very calculated. They've obviously had a plan. They've obviously sat down and worked on a plan, and I think most owners like them would have probably got rid of Smith after that Watford defeat in December.
Possibly,
I think so. For them to keep him and build and have that stability. Look where we are now, and it's all credit to them and all credit to Christian Perslow because he's going up in my estimation now. I had a few unsure about him. So in certain moments, and listen, they've been phenomenal. And I would, like I said before, I'd love to hear from them. I'd love them to sit down and just speak to the Villa media team, just because I'm just fascinated about what they have to say and what their plans are and where they want to take the club. But if it carries on like this, then it's fine. They can do what they want. But yeah, they've been unbelievable. And like I said, this time 3 years ago, it was potentially no more for our football club. And absolutely incredible.
We spoke about the depth of the forwards. Are you a bit worried about depth anywhere else? Is there anywhere else that concerns you? Maybe centre back, full back. Is there any other areas that you think might cause us problems as the season goes on?
No, I think centre back's okay. I really like Engels.
Me too.
I think he's got quality. I thought he was very, very good with Mings started last season. I thought they were looking really, really solid. Obviously, the Spurs game seems to really sort of knocked his confidence, but and he's obviously had a few injuries. But no, I think Engels is a very, very solid centre back. I think left back, to me, I still think we need better. We need more quality at left back. And saying that, Target was phenomenal on Sunday. He didn't put a foot wrong, but I just think Neil Taylor and Matt Target, I think we could maybe up our game a little bit with our options at left back. I think across the middle, I think we're absolutely fine. I think another striker and possibly another winger. And I think there's no more. I think we'll be absolutely spot on. But as somebody said, I think I read somewhere in the comments or somewhere that essentially there's only like 11 games until the next window.
Yeah, it's not much, is it?
So we're already 3 in. If we carry on playing like this and we get to the next window and we need another striker, then that's fine. But I think why we were so desperate last season was because we were doing so badly, and we were crying out for a striker. But I don't think we're going to be in this position come January. I don't think we're going to be crying out for a Boron Baston sort of last minute deadline day purchase. I think we're going to be okay. So if we can we may still go for someone like Joshua King. We may look at other options in the championship. There's still probably 4 or 5 quality players that are there. I cannot believe Benrahma's not got a move. Can't believe that. I'm stunned.
He will
for Brentford. Yeah, I mean he should be because he's top quality. People like Cantwell, Buendia, King. There's a lot of good players down there still that I feel could be playing in the Premier League. So
Troy Dana.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Troy Dana, yeah, true. Sarr, he's at Watford, another really good player. So, but I think that's the 11th. It's the 11th of October is the deadline day for domestic transfers. So
I'm lost with it, to be honest.
I think it's the 11th, and then I believe the squad numbers have to be submitted by the squad has to be submitted by the 16th. I thought I read that.
Yeah,
today.
You're right. I think you are right.
So there's still a couple of days to go. So we shall see. But then Welbeck and Sturridge. Would you take Welbeck on a pay as you play? Would you take him in on a 1-year deal? I'd take Danny Welbeck on a 1-year deal.
I feel like it's not the way we're going to operate. I feel like it's not the kind of thing we would do. And then right. You're getting someone in essentially to be back up in case you get injuries, who's always injured themselves. So to me, I don't feel like that's something we'll do. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. I know there was interest in Sturridge 12, 13 months ago, 14 months ago. So he's been without a club for a while now. I'm surprised no one's moved from him. But teams get desperate. They'll be waiting to the last minute themselves, thinking they can get themselves better pay and things like that. So we shall see what happens because, as you say, there's still time to get business done. Now, just pull your mug up on the screen. Dolan, cue everyone making jokes about Muggs being on the screen the whole way through, but we are blurred backgrounds hindering mine. But yeah, we've got our mugs on sale at the moment. These the Super Jack Grealish ones and the Gabby Bon Lahore mugs. If you go to the villaview.tv and go into our store, you can see how to get yourself a Villaview mug. They're going quite well at the moment, although I will say the Jack ones are completely outselling the others tenfold. Popular lad, that Jack Grealish. I think he's got a chance. He's going to make it, Chris.
To be fair, I kind of wanted a Jacko mug, but I got a Gabby one instead.
Okay.
Although,
fair enough.
Are we doing Paul McGrath mugs as well?
Well, I wasn't involved in the decision-making process. If I had, there'd have been a couple of different ones. I'm not sure who it was who was making the decisions, but there'd have definitely been a Marlon Harewood one, and there'd have certainly been an Ian Taylor one as well if I was in charge of doing them. So it's probably a good job I wasn't in charge, but there should definitely be a Tails one and definitely be a Paul McGrath one as well. It's worth saying we are in negotiations with Ian Taylor at the moment about getting him on one of these Luke Live lounges that he should be on soon, which is always a good laugh, and I always enjoy talking to him. Just to finish, Chris, I want to talk a little bit about social media. I don't want to dwell on it too long because I feel like it's been a really positive show, but it is a negative subject that does need covering. Anwar El Ghazi just last week had to take himself off all social media because of the abuse he was receiving from Villa fans, which quite frankly is completely unacceptable. People have really short memories. Without that guy, we aren't in the Premier League, and you shouldn't be abusing your own players anyway, and you shouldn't really be abusing anyone. So just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
I would love to go or even sit down with people that think it's okay to abuse human beings, so to speak. I'd love to go to their workplace and see how well they're doing and speak to their line manager and ask their manager what kind of job he or she are doing, because I guarantee you, if their manager in work give them the same level of abuse that they think it's okay to give footballers online, they'd walk out. They'd walk out. You know, it's unacceptable. I just do not understand why people think it's okay to go on social media and abuse other people, let alone, you know, footballers or celebrities or even strangers, even people that they've never met before, you know. And I think it's disgraceful. It's everything wrong, not just with football fans, but in general with social media. I think social media can be a really, really dark place to be. I think it could be a really unhealthy place to be. And you know, Instagram and Twitter, I find sometimes are just really not a nice place to be. And I think it's an absolute disgrace, and it's out of order. And unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about it, because when you have these public forums, people think it's okay to go on and abuse others. And you know, I think it's more than just about El Ghazi. I think it's a bigger conversation that we should be having about it, because I think on any level, online bullying is disgusting, and it has to stop. And I'll never understand it. I'll never ever understand people, even at football matches, even at the ground, you know, calling fellow human beings, you know, I see you next Tuesday, or, you know, abusing their family, abusing their, you know, you see the Eric Dyer incident last season, you know, absolutely pathetic. It's pathetic. And it really, you know, not to make us about us, but, you know, we've had our fair share of abuse over the years. And
I've had some wild things happen. Absolutely wild.
You've had it worse than myself and Tom and Rollo had it, but, you know, we've all had our fair share of things, and people get personal, and people have slagged off our wives. What's that got to do with anything?
No.
You know, it's a disgrace, and you know, I think now players are used to it. Sadly, very sadly, they're used to it. And if I was a footballer, I wouldn't go anywhere near social media. I wouldn't go anywhere near it. And it is. I saw some of the comments that Liverpool fans were making towards Adrian on Sunday. It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening. And El Ghazi, yeah, he didn't have a great game on Friday, on last Thursday, was it? Yeah, last Thursday. But no player in a Villa shirt had a good game. And as you said, you know, people have very, very short memories. You know, he essentially put his religion and his faith on hold for our football club.
It's mad. Absolutely mad.
And, you know, I don't care what anybody says. It's a disgrace, and it has to stop. And I just block people now. I don't even bother arguing with them. I mean, I always say, if you fight with pigs, you get covered in SHIT. You know, I don't want to swear, but you know, I just block them. I just block them. You know, and didn't Curtis Jones have it as well? I think it was Curtis Jones.
Nico Williams had something. The young fullback.
Nico Williams. Williams had to come off Twitter. Well, an 18-year-old kid making his way into the game and getting abused. It's horrendous, you know. But people love to. The reason I would never do it is because you never know what's going on in people's personal lives.
No.
You know, I used to get dog abuse from a haircut all the time, and you've no idea what's going on in people's personal lives, and you know, everyone has stuff to deal with. Everyone has their own struggles, and you know, you don't need some little, you know, muppet on social media give it the big one. It doesn't help anyone, and it's not funny, and it's not banter. That word banter, it's not banter. You know, I'm not laughing at it. El Ghazi's not laughing at it. No. Adrian's not laughing at it. You know, it's not banter. It never has been, and it never will be. So it's got to stop. And if I see it on the AVFC hashtag or on Twitter, I just block them. And you know, there's a lot of great people on social media, and we've met a lot of great people on social media, and it's, you know, it's given us some great platforms. But when you see fans abusing their own players because they've had a bad game, I'm sorry, but I'd love to go and see, you know, as I said before, how many of the guys have had a bad day at work? You know, many, you know, and unfortunately, these footballers, they get paid very well. Yes, they do, but they're allowed to have a bad day. They're allowed to have a bad game, but it doesn't. For me, again, money doesn't even matter. You know, I don't even know why I said that. Money, it doesn't matter how much they get paid. They're entitled to have a bad game, and people have off days. People have good days. We don't know what's going on in El Ghazi's personal life, but all I'm saying is, we'll never understand why people feel the need to abuse not only footballers but just abuse human beings. Full stop.
Yeah, I can
say on that.
I can 100% say that El Ghazi would have been given his absolute best on Thursday. I got to say, I actually thought he was one of the few that you could see was genuinely making an effort and trying to make stuff happen. But I can also guarantee, I can't guarantee every footballer, but most footballers will go through their social media and they will read that stuff. And like you say, money's completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. They're human beings. Just like there's so much bad in the world, so much evil in the world. Just I don't know why people feel the need to add to it. And 95% of the time, it is a faceless little jokey idiot account that would never ever say anything to your face. I've had people say stuff to me on Twitter, and to be honest, it's water off a duck's back. I personally deal with it quite well, but not everyone's like that. And I know for a fact that people would never ever. Oh, it's never happened. No one's ever come up to me and given me abuse at a game, the kind of abuse that I've had on Twitter. So it's cowards. It's people that aren't going to do anything in person, little keyboard warriors, and quite frankly, they all need to get a life. So that's a happy way to end what has been a really happy show.
But it's an important subject that has to be addressed, you know?
Yeah. It needed talking about, and yeah, hopefully this prize won't go to an absolute faceless account, but we've been running the discount code, obviously, that you can see at the top of the screen, but we've also got a special prize that will be going up on Instagram shortly after this show. All you need to be doing is following the Villa View, following Luke Roper, comment on our Instagram post when it's there with your man of the match from the game on Sunday against Liverpool, and then we'll pick one of those lucky people and they'll win a £200 Luke 1977 gift card. So thanks ever so much to the Luke team for giving that to us, sponsoring the show, giving us the 25% code. As I say, we're absolutely delighted to be associated with such a classy brand, and we really, really appreciate their support. Dolan, it's been brilliant to speak to you. I've really enjoyed that. It was it was a lot easier to talk about the Liverpool game, not having come straight on and having all the reactionary stuff. That was a lot easier. So it's really good to speak to you. Really good to have Nathan Dorr on briefly as well. Pray for Nathan, because quite frankly, anything could be going on with him at the moment as well. I'll check in with him in a bit. We'll be back with the Luke Live Lounge next week. I think it's going to be Thursday. Obviously, we're going to try and tie it around Wednesday, actually, I think we said, because we're going to... No, did we say Tuesday? I can't remember when we said. We'll be on social media telling you when the next Luke Live Lounge is. Thursday, was it? I was right the first time. And then there will be a post-match point after the Leicester game as well. So stick with the channel, stick with the Villa, up the Villa.